recorded. Now, number one, we're going to go over some housekeeping rules before we get started. I did wait a few minutes before, to give everyone an opportunity to log in. It is 12:05. All right. In order to get participation credit for this, you do have to actively participate as if we were in person. All right. So even though this is a virtual session, you still have to actively participate. The chat will be the place where you will go to do any type of participation, okay? The chat is the place that you will go to do participation. Now, along with the chat for participation, I will also be sending everyone an additional form, everyone that's actually logged into the orientation. You will get an additional form to fill out via your email address. Please fill that form out and return it as soon as possible, all right? Fill that form out and return it as soon as possible. It is going to be the information that was presented to you during this volunteer orientation. Some of the things we'll go into a little bit more in depth in that form, all right? So upon the completion of this volunteer orientation, you will also receive a form. We're going to go over the form here as well, but you will have to, of course, fill that form out and submit it back to us via email, all right? Now, as far as the orientation is concerned, I want to welcome everyone to the volunteer orientation. This is presented to you by Images, which is imparting motivation, achieving goals, expecting success. That is what we do. That is what we stand for. That is what we stand on. We impart motivation, we achieve goals, assist others in achieving goals, and support others in achieving goals. And we expect success from ourselves as well as from everyone that we align with, all right? The agenda today is as follows. We will go over the Images story, the Images background, so you will know what Images does, who we are, what we do, what you'll be doing while you're with us. We'll go over the mission as well as our vision, and we will go over a program overview in order to give you guys a better understanding of what it is that we do within the community and what it is that we will be doing with you as our volunteers, depending on which type of volunteer you are, as well as our employees. We go over some employee aspects to the volunteers, and the employees are treated exactly alike. They sign the same paperwork, they attend the same trainings and orientations and things of that nature. And they're held to the same standard in regards to the program, rules, responsibilities, and things of that nature. We'll talk about the benefits of volunteering. We will talk about why Images values our volunteers, and we'll also have a breakout session. Of course, if we were in person, we would get all of the forms signed in person, but because we are on the line, this is a virtual session. At the end of this, where the breakout session would be, we'll answer any questions that you all may have that you have put in the chat, or anything that comes to mind. Again, put it in the chat so that I can show that you were actively participating throughout the orientation, all right? We will also, again, I will send you those forms to fill out and sign as well via email. And so we'll just go ahead and get started, all right? So the Images story. Now, Images began in an effort to inspire and encourage others to live the abundant lives that we were created to live. Seeing more and more youth at that time exhibit self-destructive behaviors and making decisions that have negative consequences on their lives, Seattle Siler decided to take action by being a doer of the word. Having been an emancipated minor, teen parent, and former at-risk youth, Seattle understood all too well the struggles that these youth face. Seattle knows from experience why it is important to have an empowered and renewed mindset, as well as a strong support system in place in order to successfully create a better life when overcoming disadvantageous situations or any traumatic situations and experiences, okay? All right. Lack of confidence, knowledge, direction, hope, and connection and unity are among the many barriers that cause hindrances in life, which negatively impact the actions and decisions that people choose to make. So those are some of the many barriers that Seattle was able to overcome through her help, through help with her faith, her family, positive mentors, education, and personal development. Those are also some of the things that Images helps and supports others in maintaining. All right. So Images, imparting motivation, achieving goals, expecting success. The programs are all created to impact those particular areas of life, that positive mentorship, faith, family, education, personal and professional development. Professional development is not on there, but I do want everyone to know and understand we do that as well. Okay. So these programs were created to impact those areas of life. And we focus on each area because it's essential for balance. Balance is the key to everything that we do, everything that we think, say, eat, feel. They all require awareness. And through this awareness, we all grow. All right. We grow, we become better. So after successfully beating the odds and overcoming statistics, Seattle founded Images and dedicated efforts to help others become empowered by giving them a hand up through motivation, empowerment, and organized programs that create results. Images programs, events, and resources enhance the mind, the spirit, as well as the body by supporting others in building life skills, character, confidence, motivation, health, and wellness through social, financial, educational, spiritual, personal, and professional development. All right. Images began in 2012 in Greensboro, North Carolina, as a community-based youth mentoring program for girls, although it was already planned that Images would grow to be an awesome ministry. In 2015, Images expanded its mentoring offerings to include males. Images also launched the Young Entrepreneur Program, which we currently still have, as well as the Inspired Music Program. In 2019, Images expanded its age requirements in order to support the youth as well as their families, which included other adults and other members of that nuclear family and the community at large. In 2021, we expanded our services and program offerings to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So as of 2023, or it's 2024 now, but Images is still serving and facilitating programs in Guilford County, Alamance, Chatham, and Forsyth counties as well. Images offers workshops, scripture studies, events, and programs on a weekly basis. There are in-person as well as online programs available. Images is like a city that sits on a hill and is here to be a beacon of light, love, and support to all of those that are in need of such. Our mission, Images will repair the breach, restoring respect, strength, knowledge, and unity back to the character of our youth, families, and communities. Our vision is to be leaders in bringing significant and progressive change and restoration to the lives of our youth, families, and communities by providing innovative programs and services and operating in excellence, unity, as well as integrity. So as for the program overview, all right, so Images is a 501c3 community outreach ministry that provides empowerment programs that are aimed at ending negative cycles and being restored to the fullness of who God originally created us to be as his people and as individuals. We offer enrichment programs, workshops, scripture study, life groups, and seminars that serve to edify, uplift, and empower others with love, confidence, renewed mindsets, personal, professional, and spiritual development, as well as offering skill building as too. We have programs available for youth, adults, and families to participate in and enjoy together. When it comes to the volunteer behavior and appearance, We want you all to make sure that you abide by the Images rules and regulations, as well as any federal, state, and local laws, and as well as any laws of any other applicable jurisdiction. Sometimes we get people from community service. There are a specific set of rules that we have to abide by in order to be able to offer you this virtual volunteer opportunity. Okay. And so again, as I stated in the beginning of the orientation, for those of you who are just now logging on, please make sure that you are typing any questions and concerns that you have in the chat, because I do want to make sure that if there is any thing that you are not clear on, if there is any question that you have, I want to make sure that we answer those so that we can move forward in excellence. Okay. Also, anytime we do a virtual meet, a virtual workshop, a virtual program that you are getting service hours for, please be sure to comment and type in the chat. This is how we keep a record of your participation. There's also going to be at the end always of a virtual workshop some type of writing assignment that must be turned in order to get your participation credit. So please keep that in mind, okay? But as for this particular orientation and what we're doing today, make sure that you put any questions, concerns, or comments that you have in the chat. And there's also going to be another form that we go over, of which I will send to you that form to fill out after we go over it. And please return that back to me as soon as possible. All right. So orientation continued. Volunteer behavior and appearance. Abide by all Images rules and regulations, as well as any federal, state, and local laws and laws of any other applicable jurisdiction. Adhere to the confidentiality agreement, which we will go over, okay? And understand that Images will be the copyright owner of any work created by or for the organization. That is for people who sometimes they're able to get other volunteer positions based on their experience and expertise that they have. And so if you were to create, let's say, a marketing plan, a marketing strategy, a PowerPoint, or anything like that for Images, that becomes our property. Okay, you created it for us, it becomes the property of Images. It's no longer yours. We just want to make that clear. Okay. Demonstrate a willingness to serve Images and support its mission and strategic plan. All right. Volunteer behavior and appearances are continued as well here. And we want to make sure that everyone conducts all affairs in a professional manner with good faith, honesty, integrity, high ethical standards, and due diligence. Please know that you can always text the number that you have or the email address that you have. You can send an email to it, ask a question if you have one. If there's anything that you're, worried about or concerned about as it relates to this, please let us know. Adhere to, because we are not the traditional organization. We are not what people are used to. We are something fresh and new, innovative, and different. All right. So we do require a level of professionalism, but because we are not super traditional, we do want people to be their authentic selves, but in a respectful and professional way. All right. Now that is for both virtual and face-to-face environments. Whenever we are interacting with the organization, members, community, vendors, partners, supporters, and the public. All right. Show respect for the clients, business associates, fellow group members, staff, and liaisons at all time, whether in person or online. Any type of personal insults, name calling, and hate speech is not tolerated. All right. Respect is the biggest thing that we ask of you to have here. All right. We walk in love and we respect one another. Simple. Refrain from, as well as refrain from giving the appearance of placing one's own self-interest or any third-party interest above that of Images. Use good judgment in dealing with the Images staff, volunteers, participants, vendors, and the general public. Use any association information and resources appropriately as well as ethically. Refrain from using any staff or Images resources, including any items that may be provided to you as part of your volunteer service, for personal or third-party gain. Make a good effort to be a productive team member as well as an asset in your designated volunteer position. Be able and willing to work year-round in a virtual or in-person environment and be willing to use digital tools. Devote adequate time to the work of the organization. Any team members and volunteers agree to serve continuously for the entire length of the position or discuss contracted time, okay? Take a proactive approach to work and seek clarification or assistance whenever needed. And make an effort to communicate in a timely manner with the executive director. Recognize when any circumstance arises that prevents you from being able to contribute adequately to the work of the organization, and step aside so that a replacement can be secured and the work of the organization will not suffer. If you realize that virtual community service is too difficult for you, or you're not open-minded and you don't want to, have any type of build a conversation about what the information is that we present to you in these workshops, then definitely still let me know. It's okay. Everything is not for everybody. I get that. But you have to let me know as soon as possible so that you can be reassigned even. And so that another person who is in need of virtual community service placement can be put in your place. All right. No harm, no foul. We just want to keep the communication lines open. All right. And honest. If any volunteer member, staff, advisory board member are ever found to have breached one or more of these guidelines, they will be removed from the position by the executive director, because nobody has time to play around. I understand that this volunteer service is something that people do in addition to their real life that they have going on. And so nobody has time for any foolishness, or, if these things, if you know right now what you're hearing in this orientation is too difficult for you, or in any way, opposed to your beliefs, traditions, or desires, please let us know now, all right? So that we can, avoid any type of issue that's not necessary. Now, the benefits of volunteering are: one of the first and biggest benefit that people get from volunteering is the satisfaction of incorporating service into their daily lives and making a difference in their own communities and country around. A lot of time people can point out problems, but volunteering is a way that you become the change that you wish to see, as opposed to just sitting around saying what a problem is, or what you're actually putting forth some effort to help or improve a situation or a place. All right. The intangible benefits that you get from volunteering are pride, satisfaction, and accomplishment. When we share our time and talents with others, we solve problems, we strengthen lives and improve communities, and we connect to others, and we transform our own lives in the process. Images values our volunteers because our volunteer program is an integral part of the Images mentoring and empowerment programs. The success of our programs and the number of people that we are able to effectively impact relies heavily on the number of compassionate, caring, and trained volunteers that are committed to helping Images fulfill its mission. Through shared passion and unity, we can achieve a common goal of impacting and transforming ourselves, our communities, locally and globally, all by empowering others. Now, when it comes to the ministry and outreach portion, these are some things that I want you all to understand that Images stands on, we hold really dear to us. There's 3 particular scriptures that we stand on that's very important to us, that we implement in our organization, in our ministry. All right. So, of course, being that we are Hebrew based, okay. Matthew, which is the book of Matthew 22:36-40. That first scripture reads, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Yahusha replied, "Love the Most High, your mighty one, with all of your heart and with all of your soul and with all of your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and all the prophets hang on these two commandments. Now, those are like the two highest. Those are the two that had to be broken down into 600 and something because people just really couldn't get their law, their love walk together. However, if we just stick to those two, we walk in love. Okay, we love the Most High and we love the people that the Most High has placed around us, and we provide that support. That's one for the ministry. The second scripture that we stand on as a ministry is Mattiyahu, again, which is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 42. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in the Shamayim. All right. So we are real lights. We are the real light out here. We know that the world is full of darkness. We get it, but there's light available. And when we shine our light to those who are in darkness, we are helping, again, solving problems. Okay. Now, the third scripture is 1 Thessalonians 5:11, which says, therefore, encourage, admonish, exhort one another and edify, strengthen and build up one another, just as you are doing. So again, we are here to encourage. We are here to edify, uplift. We are here to support, give a hand up. And we act on these three scriptures within our ministry and our organization, because encouraging and inspiring your neighbors is an important part of loving them as yourself. Providing empowerment, encouragement, support, and inspiration to others is essential because most people you meet are hurting in some way. So kindness and empathy benefit both the giver as well as the receiver. All right. So I want to thank you all for joining us for this portion. Remember, we have another portion to do. I am going to move to some questions and answers right now before I go to that other form, just to see, if there are any questions that we do have at the present moment so that I can actually get them answered for you. So if you do volunteer work in person, you're coming into an environment where most people will be in the business attire or at least business casual, but we don't have any requirements. If you, as long as you are, clean and, your hygiene as well, and you are dressed respectfully, then, we don't have any. You can wear jeans and sneakers if you want to. That's up to you. We don't impose upon you anything like that, because we definitely want you to be comfortable when you come in person. But we also, let you know, because I may have on heels, I may have on sneakers, I go with what I want to wear. And so I allow other people to do the same as well, just be comfortable, because, people also have other things to do after they leave. So I don't want anybody to have to jump in the car and do any wardrobe changes or anything. Some people wear work uniforms, whatever. Just make sure that you're clean and comfortable. Okay. And as far as, I'm not sure what you did miss within the first 10 minutes, or where it was that you logged back on. But let me see, I got started maybe at like 12:04. So I'm not sure exactly what you missed. I don't know, but we're going to keep rolling on from here. I don't see any other questions based on this particular thing, so I'll keep going. The main things that I do want you to know, just in case you missed it, when we do any type of virtual community service, when we do any type of virtual program or workshop, you have to do a couple of things. You have to comment in the chat. All right. This is part of participation. This is how I know that you're actively listening and paying attention and not just, logging in and going on about your day. Okay. This is also how I show the people at the Wonderful Community Service office that you were actually engaging and participating in the virtual assignments. A requirement of theirs is just to know that you were actually doing what you're supposed to be doing for community service, even though virtual community service is, a privilege for some. Now, the other thing is that most of the virtual sessions also will have a written assignment at the end of that session or workshop or class or video assignment, there's always a written portion that you have to turn in as well after you get off. So just remember to participate in the chat, comment in the chat for anything that you're doing online, as well as turn in the written assignments that are due at the end of each virtual session, okay? Now I need to, let me see. I'm going to pull this form up so we can go over it really fast, and then we'll be good to go, you guys. Hold on one second. Now, this particular form, this is the one that I was saying that I had to send you guys. We're going to go over it really quick. I want you to go over it as well, because you have to read it and sign it just so you can, so you know what you're signing. I always advise everyone to read what you are putting your John Hancock on, but we're definitely going to go over it right now. All right, so this is our volunteer orientation registration packet. Again, I will email it to the people that were actually online, okay, for this volunteer orientation. I thank you for choosing to volunteer with Images. This registration packet is intended to help the volunteers better understand the Images mission, as well as volunteer roles and responsibilities. We want to ensure that you have the best volunteer experience that is possible. So please review the enclosed information closely. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to the volunteer coordinator at 336-528-4833 or by email at imagesgso@gmail.com, and whoever gets the message will return, your message or your answer or response. All right. So thank you for joining the Images family and welcome aboard. Now, this orientation packet that we are currently going over right now is designed to, and again, if you have any questions through the course of this, just put them in the chat and I'll address them toward the end. Okay. At the end. All right, so this volunteer orientation packet is designed to acquaint you with the Images program and to provide you with information about working conditions and some of the policies that affect your volunteer experience. Give me 1 second. I need to get me some water, you guys, because going through this talking. Let me see here. Thank you for your patience. There was no way I was going to get through all of this talking with no water. Okay. Now where was I at? Okay, so you should read and understand and comply with all provisions of the volunteer orientation registration packet. It describes your responsibilities as a volunteer and outlines the programs developed by Images. One of our objectives is to provide a work environment that is conducive to both personal and professional growth. While every attempt has been made to create these personalized policies consistent with any federal or state laws, if an inconsistency arises, the policy will be enforced consistent with the applicable law. No volunteer orientation packet can anticipate every circumstance or questions about policy. As Images continues to grow, the need may arise, and Images reserves the right to revise or supplement or rescind any portion of the policy of this volunteer orientation packet as deemed appropriate in its absolute discretion. However, volunteers will be notified of any such changes to this volunteer orientation packet as they occur, and that usually happens in writing. All right. So when you get your form, you'll see that each section has a confirmation box that you need to sign or mark to make sure that you read it, or you are confirming that you read that particular portion. As far as the organizational overview, as we stated before, in the orientation PowerPoint, Images is a 501c3 community outreach ministry that provides empowerment programs aimed at ending negative cycles and being restored to the fullness of who God originally created us to be as his people and as individuals. We offer mentoring, enrichment programs, workshops, scripture study, life groups, and seminars that help to edify, uplift, and empower others with love, confidence, renewed mindsets, personal and spiritual development, as well as skill building. We do have programs available for youth, adults, and families to participate in and enjoy. Again, our vision is to be leaders in bringing significant and progressive change and restoration to the lives of our youth, families, and communities by providing innovative programs and services and operating in excellence, unity, and integrity. Our mission statement: Images will repair the breach, restoring respect, strength, knowledge, and unity back to the character of our youth and families and communities as well. Now, here are our values. This is very important because these are things that we value as an organization, and we value working in excellence and integrity to pursue these principles. Number one is unity. Images inspires pro-social friendships, positive and efficient interpersonal and intrapersonal communication skills, as well as unity. Now, oftentimes people ask the difference between the interpersonal and the intrapersonal. One is dealing with other people, okay? Your communication skills with your people, other people. The other is how you communicate with yourself, your self-talk, okay? Number two is responsibility. The focus of Images is to empower others in establishing goals and following through on commitments. Number three is possibility. Images expands the perspectives of people to make them aware of life's possibilities and instill a hope in the future. Number four, which is last but not least, is support, all right? An individual is dramatically influenced by their support system. So Images provides support and services in a caring, inclusive learning environment. Our volunteer program, again, is an integral part of the Images mentoring and empowerment programs. The success of our programming and the number of people that we are able to effectively impact relies heavily on the number of compassionate, caring, trained volunteers that are committed to helping Images fulfill its mission. Through shared passion and unity, we can achieve a common goal of impacting and transforming our communities by empowering people. Volunteers are welcomed and encouraged to participate. Prior experience is not required, but commitment and passion are. Images provides training, and we ask that you provide the willingness to positively impact the lives of others. Again, there's a confirmation box. All right, the non-discrimination policy for Images is also included in this section. And in order for us to provide equal opportunities to all individuals, decisions at Images are based on merit and qualification as well as abilities. Images does not discriminate against any person because of race, color, creed, religion, sex, national origin, disability, age, any genetic information, or any other characteristic that is protected by law or referred to as a protected status. This non-discrimination policy extends to all terms, conditions, privileges of employment, and volunteerism, as well as the use of all company facilities, participation in all company-sponsored activities, and all employment actions such as promotions, compensations, benefits, and termination of employment or volunteerism. Any employees or volunteers with questions or concerns about any type of discrimination in the workplace are encouraged to bring these issues to the attention of their immediate supervisor. Employees and volunteers can raise concerns and make reports without fear of reprisal. Anyone found to be engaging in any type of unlawful discrimination is subject to disciplinary actions, up to and including termination of employment or volunteer positions. Again, the best thing we can do is walk in love and be respectful, okay? That'll help us to avoid any type of discrimination. There's a confirmation box for you to confirm that you read that when you receive this form. Now we get into our confidentiality agreement. This one is very important as well. All information concerning images, clients, former clients, our staff, volunteers, financial data, business records of images, all of that's confidential, okay? Now, confidential means that you are free to talk about Image's mission, as well as the outreach ministry, as well as your volunteer position, but you are not permitted to disclose any client names or talk about them in ways that will make their identity known. No information may be released without appropriate authorization. None of Image's intellectual property or program structure is to be shared with others or reproduced without the written consent from the executive director. This is a basic component of client care and business ethics. The board of directors, staff, and our clients rely on paid and volunteer staff to conform to this rule of confidentiality. Images expects you to respect the privacy of clients and to maintain information about Images, okay? Any of their personal information, financial information, all of that is confidential, whether it's for a client or Images. All records dealing with specific client names, specific client information about Images must be treated as confidential. General information, policy statements, or statistical material that is not identified with any individual or family is not classified as confidential. Staff members as well as volunteers are responsible for maintaining the confidentiality of information relating to other staff members and volunteers, including to clients, all right? Failure to maintain confidentiality may result in your termination, okay, or some other corrective action. Termination, okay. This policy is intended to protect you as well as Images because in extreme cases, violations of this policy may also result in personal liability. So before you begin your role as a volunteer, you should be aware of the laws and penalties for breaching confidentiality. Although the agency is liable for your acts within the scope of your duty, giving information to any unauthorized person could result in the agency's refusal to support you in the event of legal action. I can tell you right now, it's not a could, it is we will refuse to support you in the event of any legal actions, all right? So violation of the state statutes regarding confidentiality of records is punishable upon conviction by fines, imprisonment, or both. So again, you're going to confirm that you have read the Images policy on confidentiality and the confidentiality agreement that's presented above. You agree to abide by the requirements of the policy and inform your supervisor or whoever your facilitator is immediately if you believe any violation, whether it was unintentional or otherwise, of the policy has occurred. It also says that you understand that a violation of this policy will lead to disciplinary actions up to and including termination of your services with Images. The best way to put that is what goes on in Images stays in Images. No gossiping. Save that for another time, other place, or different things like that. We just definitely want to express how important confidentiality is, because there are a lot of people that come to us for services and things, and you may receive a volunteer position that would make you privy to that information. And one thing that we don't want to do or have anyone else do is to breach this confidentiality policy, because people trust in us and we are a trustworthy organization and we want to stay that way. All right. Now, when it comes to the social networking and blogging policy, we are going over these other policies just in case you happen to get, because everybody does the same orientation. So we go over all of the policies so that you will have them, whether you have anything to do with the social networking or blogging or not. Okay. You still have to sign it, read it, and sign it and return it. To protect Images' interests, volunteers must adhere to the following rules, all right? Volunteers may not post on a blog or social network site during their working time or at any time using Images equipment or property unless it's a positive comment, post, blog, or other favorable mention of Images programs and services, or unless your work shop facilitator does not mind, okay? And again, if it's about images, it still has to follow the guidelines of being a positive comment, post, blog, or other favorable mention of the images, programs, and services. All social media activity must have a positive impact and be helpful to images. Recruiting efforts and promotional efforts must be approved by the supervisor. So that's saying if you are in charge of marketing or something like that, everything that you create must be approved before it is posted. All right. If a volunteer identifies her or himself as a volunteer with images on any social media networking site, the communication must include a disclaimer that the views expressed on that page or that platform do not necessarily reflect the views of images. Images, electronic communication systems are for business use only. So if we allow you access to our social media platforms or tablets or anything like that, it's for business use only, not personal. All right. All rules regarding confidential business information apply in full to blogs and social networking sites. Any information that cannot be disclosed through a conversation, a note, or an email also cannot be disclosed on a blog or social networking site. The transmission of confidential or proprietary information without the permission of images is strictly prohibited. Again, you will have to confirm that you read that and sign it. Now, when it comes to the volunteer code of conduct, and there's not too much more on this form. When it comes to the volunteer code of conduct, the form is stating, and you are stating once you confirm each of these, that as a volunteer, I am committed to personal responsibility, being dependable, recognizing the commitment and responsibility to my volunteer assignment, accept assignments consistent with my interest, abilities, and available time, accept assignments with an open mind and willingness to learn, accept feedback from my supervisor in order to do the best job possible, avoid conflicts of interest situations and refrain from actions that may be perceived as such. Volunteers should reveal any potential or actual conflicts of interest as they arise, please. Do not accept any form of monetary payment for your volunteer work. We don't give you any money, so you don't have to worry. Address ethical concerns by speaking directly with the supervisors for mediation, okay? Now, sometimes I'll go back to this because sometimes we do provide lunch and things of that nature, but that does not mean that you're being paid or bribed in any way to do volunteer work, okay? Volunteer code of conduct. As a volunteer, I am committed to respect. Treat all individuals with a sense of dignity, respect, and worth. Being non-judgmental about cultural differences, living conditions, and the lifestyles of others. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a second because I do want to explain that although we are a ministry and although we do present different information to you, we do give you, a little background about the Hebraic culture and things of that nature. We are open to you also presenting information. For example, some of our workshop presentations, we may include scripture, right? Well, if you have from your culture or background some type of reference that applies to what we're actually speaking about, then you are very well welcome to share. I don't want anyone to feel like we are trying to force any ways or beliefs on you because we are not. We're just presenting information to you. And you are also able to present information to us or in the chat or in the classes and workshops, whether in person or online. So we want everyone to feel comfortable and know that if you would like to build on something a little further, if you would ever like to feedback, if you ever want to give your viewpoint or opinion based on something that we have, your positive viewpoint or opinion based on something that we are doing in our groups or workshops, then please feel free to share that information, okay? Now, avoid profane and abusive language and disruptive behavior that is dangerous to yourself or others. Abstain from the use of any photo, audio, or video recording equipment unless authorized. Respecting all confidential information. Again, that's important. Maintain the confidentiality of all proprietary or privileged information of images. Comply with any mandated reporting in cases of suspected child and adult abuse or neglect. That's for people who are working directly with children, okay? But if you're working directly with the children, you also have to go through another training. Respect and use all equipment appropriately and as required for your assignment. Abstain from the use of any county equipment or resources for personal use. As a volunteer, so the volunteer code of conduct continued is, as a volunteer, I am committed to safety. I will not use, possess, or be under the influence of alcohol or illegal drugs while volunteering. Abstain from all illegal activities while volunteering. Follow safe workplace practices, including participation in applicable education. Using appropriate safety equipment and reporting accidents as well as injuries and any unsafe situations. Report suspicious activities to your supervisor or facilitator. Maintain responsibility and adhere to the rules and procedures of the agency. Wear proper attire and or safety equipment as required, and report all accidents and injuries if applicable to the volunteer position. You will again confirm that you have read that. And finally, we are at the end of this form in which you sign your name, which serves as your digital signature, and you send that form back in to us. Okay. Now, upon completion of this, you will then be able to go to the app. I think everybody has the app. Okay, so I'll get to the question section in a minute. I'm not even sure what's actually going on here. Okay, so please remember that after this orientation and all of the required forms has been completed by you, and I have the documentation for the community service people that you completed the full hour of this particular volunteer orientation, you are then able to go ahead and start signing up for all the other events. Now, for those of you who have I think everybody that's on this particular call has the app already downloaded. Is that correct? Has everyone on this call downloaded the app already? If you have not downloaded the app, okay. Thank you. So now, what you do is when you log on to the app, you go to the event section. The event section will have all of the other events that are available for you. Well, it'll have most of the events that are available for you. Just go through the event section and sign up, register for the events that are within your, that work with your scheduling, okay? I know there are some of you who work at hours that are odd hours, but we will make some arrangements for that. However, I know everyone gets a day off or so. I still have to have your participation in some of the day in the day programs to be able to work with you to make arrangements or accommodations for other alternative hours. All right. So the app, you need that app because that's the only way that you can obtain access to the virtual events. You have to have the app. When you register for each event, it'll say buy a ticket. You do not have to pay for the ticket. The ticket is free. Just click the button. Okay. Register. It'll send you a ticket to the email that you provided when you downloaded the app. Okay. That ticket in that email will have a link for each and every session that you get a ticket for. So you have to keep the ticket because typically you have to register for the events ahead of time. Okay. So you keep your ticket that's in your email because you will need to access that ticket in order to access the virtual events. There is also available sometimes in person, you can come in person to any of those events. You do have to let us know ahead of time that you desire to come in person. If you sign up for an in-person event even one time and you do not come, you will no longer be allowed to come in person. You will only be permitted to participate online. These things, even though these workshops are free to you, we do have to, it does cost us to be able to present them and facilitate them for you. So we definitely need to make sure that everybody is attending, as they are signing up for these things. Again, you do have the opportunity to come in person to any of the sessions, but you will have one time to not show up before you can only do virtual assignments from that point on. Also, there are some other things available, so pay attention to the announcement section of that app, because we do have credit classes and other things that we give you guys the ability to participate in and get hours for. Also, we do have a subscription. Now, most of the time, the people who are not able to attend the day, the workshops that we have during the day, you do have the option to get a subscription, but the subscriptions are paid. Again, I'll talk to everyone about that separately if we need to, but the workshops during the day, they're all free, okay? Just so you know that even if it says buy a ticket, still click the button and register online. All right, I am going to bring this session to a close. And I will send everyone that was on the call the other form to send back to me. All right. So thank you for your participation. You guys have a great day.